Listen carefully, because if this message doesn't shake your soul, nothing will. Most people walk through life like ghosts, no purpose, no fire, no ambition. And the worst part, they accept it. They're comfortable being nobodies. But you, if you're hearing this, you were not built for a loser's ending. Don't die a loser. Don't be. They waste days like they're infinite. They throw away opportunities like they grow on trees. And they keep delaying their dreams like they're immortal. The truth is simple and brutal. You don't have time. And the longer you act like you do, the more you drift into the category of men who die filled with regret, bitterness, and wasted potential. You don't want to be that man. So listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is a slap of reality your future self will thank you for. The world is filled with people who had dreams but never acted. They had ideas, ambitions, talent, potential, but they waited. They waited for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect motivation. They waited until they finally realized the moment never came. That's the trap. That's the poison. And if you're not careful, you'll fall into the same pattern, convincing yourself that you'll start next week, next month, when things settle down, when life becomes easier, when you feel ready. But readiness is a myth. The strongest people, the most successful people, the most dominant people, they didn't act because they were ready. They acted because time wasn't going to slow down for them. They moved even when it was chaotic, even when they were tired, even when everything felt uncertain. That's how real winners operate. Here's the hook. Every minute you procrastinate, someone else is using that minute to pass you. Every morning you sleep in, someone else is waking up to take your spot. Every time you say later, someone else is saying now. And when you finally decide to start, they'll already be years ahead. You're not competing with your comfort. You're competing with people who want it more than you do. That's the reality you must face if you want to rise above the majority of men who drift through life like it's a rehearsal. You must understand that time is not your friend. Time is a thief. It steals your energy, your youth, your drive, your potential, silently, slowly, but ruthlessly. One day you're 18 with big dreams. The next day you're 25 wondering where the years went. Suddenly you're 30 realizing you wasted your prime chasing distractions instead of purpose. That's the pain most men carry but never talk about. The pain of knowing they could have been more, but they chose comfort over greatness. Don't let that be your story. You have to wake up with urgency. You have to move like your goals are oxygen, like your dreams are survival, like your future depends on what you do today, because it does. Attack your day. Dominate your time. Stop waiting for motivation and start acting out of discipline. Every small action compounds. Every step forward counts. Every hour used wisely builds the man you want to become. You don't need massive change overnight. You just need to stop wasting your most valuable resource, the time you will never get back. And here's another hook you need drilled into your mind. Life does not pause for you. Your responsibilities won't pause. Your bills won't pause. Your goals won't build themselves. You can cry, complain, blame the world, blame your circumstances, blame your past, but the clock keeps ticking. No one cares about your excuses. Time doesn't care about your feelings. The world respects results, and results come from those who act with urgency, not those who wait for a miracle. So stop living like you have time. Start living like every day is a chance to rewrite your story. Because the truth is, you aren't running out of opportunities. You're running out of time. Use it, own it, and build a life you're proud to live. Your excuses are your prison, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll finally understand why your life isn't where you want it to be. Excuses are the invisible chains that keep you locked in the same place year after year while you convince yourself that you're making progress. They feel comfortable. They feel logical. They even sound reasonable when you repeat them enough times. But deep down, beneath all the rationalization, you know the truth. Every excuse you make is a wall you build between you and the life you want. And the longer you hide behind those walls, the smaller your world becomes. Excuses don't protect you. They confine you. Here's the hook. Every time you make an excuse, you're choosing weakness. You're choosing the easy path. You're choosing to stay exactly where you are. And the world has no mercy for people who choose weakness. You tell yourself you're tired, so you skip the work. You tell yourself you're stressed, so you avoid the challenge. You tell yourself it's too difficult, so you don't even try. But thousands of other people with more problems, less support, and harsher lives still find a way to push through. That's the difference between someone who wins and someone who stays average. Winners act, losers justify. And the more you justify your failures, the deeper you bury your potential. Excuses are seductive because they give you permission to stay the same. They allow you to protect your ego instead of confronting your reality. They let you pretend you're not at fault. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I don't know where to start. These phrases sound harmless, but they are lethal to your growth. They are the reasons you're stuck, the reasons you feel unfulfilled, the reasons you're not living the life you imagine. And the painful truth is this: the excuse might comfort you today, but it will destroy you tomorrow. Comfort gives you temporary relief. Action gives you permanent results. Think about how many times you stopped yourself from doing something important because you found the perfect excuse to escape the discomfort. Think about how many opportunities you missed because you were protecting yourself from effort. Think about how many moments you could have changed your life, but you let fear, laziness, or doubt speak louder than ambition. That's what excuses do. They mute your inner strength and amplify your inner weakness. They make a small obstacle look like a giant wall just so you can feel justified in giving up. Here's another hook. The life you want is hiding behind everything you're avoiding. It's behind the task you keep postponing. It's behind the discipline you keep rejecting. It's behind the fear you keep feeding. Every excuse you kill unlocks a new version of you, stronger, sharper, more capable. But every excuse you keep alive kills a piece of your potential. You don't become great by accident. You become great by facing the work you don't want to do. That's how champions are built. And the moment you stop making excuses, something incredible happens. The world starts opening up. You start seeing opportunities where you used to see obstacles. You start feeling control where you used to feel stuck. You start trusting yourself because you finally stop abandoning yourself. The discipline grows. The confidence grows. The results grow. And most importantly, the excuses shrink. They lose their power because you stop giving them power. You have to understand that your life is a direct reflection of the choices you make, not the excuses you tell. If you want a stronger body, you train. If you want a better life, you work. If you want more money, you grind. If you want freedom, you sacrifice. Excuses won't save you. They won't build you. They won't make you proud of the man you see in the mirror. Only action can do that. And until you destroy the habit of making excuses, you are choosing to live in a prison built by your own hands. But the moment you break free from that prison, you become unstoppable, not because life becomes easier, but because you finally stopped choosing the easy way out. Comfort is the enemy of greatness, because nothing extraordinary has ever been built by a man who chose the easy path. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it destroys you slowly. It keeps you soft, keeps you dependent, keeps you average. It whispers, relax, you've done enough, even though you know deep inside you've barely scratched the surface of your potential. Comfort tricks you into believing that staying the same is safer than growing, and that is the most dangerous lie you can ever accept. The men who achieve greatness are never the ones who settle. They're the ones who step into discomfort again and again until discomfort becomes their natural state. If you want a powerful life, you must stop worshiping comfort and start embracing the grind that most people run away from. Here's the hook you need to let sink in. Comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will. Failure teaches you. Failure strengthens you. Failure forces you to adapt and evolve. But comfort, it freezes you in place. It convinces you that you have nothing left to prove. It makes you passive, slow, weak, and unmotivated. The moment you choose comfort over challenge, you begin the slow death of your ambition. People don't lose because they're incapable. They lose because they choose comfort instead of growth. They want the rewards of greatness without paying the painful price of discipline. But that is not how the world works. You don't get what you want. You get what you're willing to suffer for. Think about this. Every major breakthrough in your life happened outside your comfort zone. Every skill you developed, every obstacle you overcame, every moment you leveled up, it all happened when you were uncomfortable. Growth is not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to stretch you, pressure you, hurt you, test you. That pressure is what shapes your character, sharpens your mind, and strengthens your body. And the uncomfortable truth is that if you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you're not pushing forward, you're sliding backward. There is no standing still in life. The world is moving. Competitors are moving. Opportunities are moving. If you choose comfort, you're already losing ground. Another hook, the life you want exists on the other side of everything you're avoiding. The routine you skip, the challenge you delay, the work you fear, that's where your transformation lives. You don't become powerful by staying comfortable. You become powerful by doing what most people can't or won't do. While others rest, you rise. While others hesitate, you attack. While others complain, you adapt. That mindset separates leaders from followers, winners from losers, legends from the forgotten. The world rewards those who step into discomfort with courage and consistency. Comfort also blinds you. It makes you believe that average is acceptable. It makes you think that surviving is enough when you are built for dominating. It keeps you distracted with entertainment, food, laziness, and temporary pleasure. Comfort numbs your hunger. It disconnects you from your purpose. And once you become numb, it becomes almost impossible to reclaim the fire you lost. That's how most people end up living quiet, mediocre lives, because they choose comfort every time things get difficult. They fold the moment pressure arrives. They retreat the moment discipline is required. They collapse the moment life demands more. But the men who rise, they do the opposite. They run toward discomfort. They seek out challenges. They put themselves into situations that force growth. They willingly suffer for the future they want. They know that every uncomfortable moment is an investment that pays them back tenfold. They understand that comfort might give you a good day, but discomfort gives you a great life. You must adopt the same mindset. Train your mind to accept discomfort as a necessary part of the journey. The gym will hurt. The work will drain you. The discipline will feel heavy. The routine will challenge you. But every moment of discomfort is shaping a version of you that comfort could never create. And once you realize that discomfort is not your enemy, but your greatest ally, you stop running from it and start using it as fuel. That's how greatness is built. That's how you become unstoppable. Discipline builds men, not motivation, because motivation is nothing more than a spark. Quick, loud, exciting, and gone within moments. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the excitement fades. People cling to motivation because it feels good. It makes them believe they're ready to change their lives. It gives them a temporary rush of ambition. But the moment life hits them with stress, fatigue, or discomfort, that motivation disappears. And that's why most people fail. They rely on feelings instead of systems. They wait for a mood instead of building a mindset. Winners understand a truth that average people ignore. Discipline will take you places motivation could never reach. Here's the hook you need to tattoo into your mind. Motivation gets you started, but discipline is what keeps you moving when every part of you wants to stop. Anyone can work hard when they feel inspired. Anyone can wake up early when their emotions are high. Anyone can commit for a day, a week, or even a month. But discipline shows up when the excitement dies. Discipline shows up when the alarm rings and your body screams for more sleep. Discipline shows up when you're exhausted, stressed, overwhelmed, and still choose to honor your goals. That's what separates the average man from the exceptional one. The uncomfortable truth is that discipline is not about feeling good. It's about doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. That's what builds real strength. That's what builds character. That's what builds power. The world is full of motivated people who never achieved anything meaningful because their motivation had no structure. They got excited, made big plans, posted them online, talked endlessly about their goals. But when the time came to put in the hard, boring daily work, they vanished. Discipline doesn't vanish. Discipline doesn't get bored. Discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline is a command you give yourself, and you follow it because you refuse to betray your future. Another hook. The man with discipline will always defeat the man with talent. Talent can fade. Motivation can fade. But discipline compounds. Every single day you stay disciplined. You sharpen your skills, strengthen your mind, and close the gap between who you are and who you want to become. Discipline is the quiet force driving your transformation, the invisible engine pushing your progress, the backbone of every victory you'll ever earn. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're busy. It doesn't care if you're in the mood. It only cares that you show up. Most people don't lack motivation. They lack accountability. They lack self-respect. They lack the internal standard that forces them to rise even when it's inconvenient. Discipline is ultimately about self-respect. You do the work because you refuse to let yourself down. You keep your promises because you refuse to live as a liar to your own goals. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. When you set a plan, you follow it. When you make a commitment, to yourself, you protect it like your life depends on it, because your future does. Understand this: the more disciplined you become, the freer you become. People think discipline restricts them, but the opposite is true. Discipline frees you from laziness, from inconsistency, from regret, from weakness. It frees you from the endless cycle of starting and quitting. It frees you from the guilt of wasted time and missed opportunities. Discipline gives you control over your destiny. Motivation gives you hope. Discipline gives you results. When discipline becomes part of your identity, everything changes. You stop searching for shortcuts. You stop falling for excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You operate on a higher frequency, a level where effort is automatic, commitment is natural, and quitting is not an option. That's the mindset that builds winners. That's the mindset that builds unstoppable men. And once you master it, no challenge, no obstacle, no setback can break you, because you didn't build your life on motivation. You built it on disciplined, relentless action. Pain is the price of power, because nothing valuable, nothing meaningful, nothing transformational in life comes without struggle. People want strength without suffering, growth without hardship, success without sacrifice, but that's not how greatness is created. Pain is the currency that buys you progress. Pain is the test that decides whether you're serious or just pretending. Pain is the gateway between the person you are and the person you want to become. And the truth you must accept, no matter how uncomfortable it feels, is that every powerful version of you is born through discomfort, challenge, and adversity. Here's the hook: if you run from pain, you are running from your own potential. Every time you hide from difficulty, you're choosing weakness over evolution. The strongest people you admire didn't become who they are by avoiding hard moments. They became powerful because they embraced them. They confronted the suffering most people escape. They walked through fire while others looked for shade. That's why they stand out, because they were willing to pay a cost others refused to pay. Pain builds resilience. Pain builds clarity. Pain builds hunger. It builds a mindset that refuses to quit. And once pain becomes familiar, fear loses its grip. Pain exposes you. It shows you what you're made of, what you lack, and what you must become. In moments of struggle, you see your real strength, not your pretend strength, not the strength you talk about, not the strength you show online, but your raw, unfiltered, undeniable capacity to endure and push forward. Pain removes the masks. Pain removes the excuses. Pain removes the lies you tell yourself. And when you're stripped down to the truth, you finally see the version of yourself worth building. Pain forges identity. Another hook: the difference between average men and great men is simple. Average men feel pain and stop. Great men feel pain and rise. They push, they adapt, they evolve. They use pain as fuel. They don't break under pressure, they sharpen under it. When life hits them hard, they don't collapse, they transform. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to get stronger. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every hardship becomes a stepping stone. That mindset is what turns ordinary men into champions. Pain is not punishment. Pain is instruction. It teaches discipline. It teaches patience. It teaches focus. And most importantly, it teaches responsibility. When you go through hard times, you stop expecting life to be easy. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You stop relying on luck or comfort. You learn to trust yourself. You learn to build yourself. You learn that you can carry far more than you ever believed. And once you know you can handle pain, nothing can intimidate you anymore. There's a reason the most successful people have the most painful stories. They didn't succeed in spite of the pain. They succeeded because of it. They learned how to endure what others couldn't. They took every wound and turned it into wisdom. They took every loss and turned it into leverage. They took every struggle and turned it into strength. Pain was not their enemy, it was their architect. You need to understand this deeply. Pain is temporary, but the power it builds is permanent. The suffering won't last forever, but the man you become because of it will last your entire life. That's the trade. That's the price. And that's why avoiding pain is the biggest mistake you can make. If you avoid pain, you avoid growth. If you avoid struggle, you avoid progress. If you avoid challenge, you avoid becoming the strongest version of yourself. So when pain comes, and it will, don't run, don't hide, don't break. Stand tall, face it, push through it. Because on the other side of that pain is a stronger, smarter, tougher version of you. A version built through fire. A version unshakable. A version unstoppable. And that version is worth every second of the suffering you must endure to reach him. Legacy over pleasure is the mindset that separates. Men who are remembered from men who disappear the moment they die. Pleasure is easy. Pleasure is everywhere. Pleasure is cheap, instant, addictive, and designed to distract you from the life you're supposed to build. But legacy? Legacy demands sacrifice. Legacy demands discipline. Legacy demands a level of commitment that most people are too weak to maintain. When you choose pleasure over purpose, you trade your future for a few minutes of comfort. But when you choose legacy over pleasure, you build something that outlives you, something that carries your name forward, something that reminds the world you existed. You fought, you built, you mattered. Here's the hook. Every choice you make is either pushing you toward greatness or pulling you back into mediocrity. Every time you choose pleasure, sleeping in, wasting time, chasing distractions, indulging in useless entertainment, you're quietly killing your future. You're feeding your weakness. You're building a life you'll eventually regret. Pleasure demands nothing from you, but it takes everything from you. Your time, your strength, your ambition, your potential, and you don't even notice what it's stealing until it's too late. Legacy, on the other hand, is forged through consistency, focus, and the willingness to do what most men won't. It requires you to prioritize long-term reward over short-term satisfaction. It forces you to say no when others say yes. It forces you to stay disciplined when everyone around you is wasting their lives. Legacy asks you to sacrifice comfort, to sacrifice laziness, to sacrifice the cheap highs that make you feel good for a moment but weak for a lifetime. Only a rare kind of man is willing to make that trade. That's why so few achieve greatness. Another hook, the man you will become is determined by the temptations you refuse. Every time you reject a distraction, you strengthen your character. Every time you delay pleasure for progress, you sharpen your identity. Every time you stay focused while the world around you is drowning in laziness, you step closer to becoming someone future generations will respect. Legacy is not built overnight. It's built through thousands of moments where you choose discipline over indulgence. It's built through the decisions nobody sees, the sacrifices nobody applauds, and the battles nobody knows you're fighting. Legacy forces you to think bigger. Pleasure makes you think about right now. Legacy makes you think about 10 years from now. Pleasure makes you think about how you feel. Legacy makes you think about who you're becoming. Pleasure keeps you small. Legacy pulls you upward, demanding you rise to a level worthy of respect. The men who build legacies are not concerned with temporary tastes. They're focused on building something permanent. Wealth, discipline, strength, impact, a name that echoes long after they're gone. Pleasure makes you predictable. It makes you controllable. It makes you soft. When you chase pleasure, you fall into the same trap billions of others fall into. Scrolling your life away, numbing yourself, avoiding responsibility, escaping reality. Pleasure drains the fire inside you. It kills your hunger. It turns you into a spectator. Legacy reignites that fire. It gives you direction. It gives you urgency. It gives you a mission that makes the sacrifices worthwhile. You have to decide what matters more, feeling good for a moment or becoming someone you're proud of forever. Because the truth is, nobody remembers the man who lived for pleasure. Nobody cares about the man who wasted his time. Nobody respects the man who chose comfort over contribution. The world remembers the builders, the fighters, the leaders, the men who prioritized impact over indulgence. If you want a powerful life, you must learn to delay gratification. You must learn to reject the easy path. You must learn to endure boredom, discomfort, challenge, and pressure. That's where legacy is forged. That's where identity is sharpened. That's where real greatness is earned. Your life is your message to the world. Your actions are your signature. Your discipline is your proof. And the question you need to ask yourself every single day is simple. Am I chasing pleasure or am I building a legacy? Because one will die with you and the other will outlive you. So hear me clearly. Your story is not written yet. You can still turn everything around. You can still rise, still conquer, still dominate, but only if you decide today that you refuse to die a loser. Stand up, wake up, lock in, become the man you were meant to be. Because the world doesn't remember losers, it remembers legends. And it's time for you to become one